When you look into Discover Student Loans, what you see might surprise you. We can help cover your college costs, don't charge you fees, and give you cash rewards for good grades. Ready to apply? Visit discoverstudentloans.com. Limitations apply.
Underdog Fantasy is the fastest-growing fantasy app and easiest place to play fantasy sports. Just jump on UnderdogFantasy.com or download the app, draft your team, and that's it. And if drafts aren't your thing, they also have a pick'em game where you can win 20 times your money in a single night. Use promo code RADIO, and Underdog will double your first deposit when you sign up with up to $100 in bonus cash. Deposit $100, get $100 free. That's promo code RADIO. Terms and conditions apply.
You're listening to a Countout Podcast.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Independent Waters. I am your host, Mikey Manfredi, and I need to back off the mic. And joining me, as always, is my co-host of this show, Zach O.J.M.O. Batista. Zach, how you doing, my man?
Decent. It's finally getting hotter out, which is, always nice. And I'm fucking tired, but I'm going to keep recording, even though I am fucking tired right now.
Yeah, power through, baby. Woo!
Yeah. It's a normal day, normal morning, more independent wrestling, basically.
Yeah, it is. Hey, we got some good independent wrestling this week, though, that I'm very excited to talk about. We have some pretty solid matchups here. Zach, I believe you picked a majority of the matches this week. So would you like to... Did I, or did you... No, I did. Sorry.
A singular match this week.
Let me rewind. We have some pretty good independent wrestling to talk about. I picked the majority of the matches this week, so let me talk about what I picked, and then we can talk about what Zach decided to bring to the table. I, this week, have chosen two matches that I was very excited about. Melbourne City Wrestling, Jessica Choi versus Aisha. And I brought to the table from Pro Wrestling Guerrilla Battle of Los Angeles 2011 Finals, Kevin Steen versus El Generico, because if there's one thing you can guarantee from Mikey, it's that he's gonna pick Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn fighting each other. I'm sorry, not Sami Zayn, El Generico, who is mysteriously still in Tijuana somewhere doing orphanage stuff, I think.
Yes, charity work.
Of course. But two of my favorite wrestlers, probably of all time, had to pick. Now that this match was free on YouTube, I had to do it.
Fair enough.
Zach, what did you bring to the table?
Coming off of our For the Culture episode a couple weeks back, I decided to pick a wrestler that had really caught my eye, which is the O.J.M.O, a.k.a. Michael Oku, a.k.a. the master of the half Boston Crab, going against Ender Kara at Pro Wrestling Seoul, a promotion we haven't done in a minute.
All right, why don't we jump right on into it then, unless we got anything else to talk about?
I have nothing in particular at the moment.
No, not even the fact that, like, as of recording today, in a month's time, Mario Strikers Battle League comes out.
Oh, well, I actually forgotten that was a thing.
I'm mega excited for that game. Mega excited.
Really, Mario Strikers, huh?
I love Mario Strikers. When I was like 13, my cousin gave me his old GameCube, and that was the only game he gave to me with the GameCube was Mario Strikers, which I played the shit out of. Oh. Then when I got a Wii, I played the shit out of Mario Strikers Charged. So this is one of my favorite Mario sports games ever. So now that they're coming out with a new one literally next month, 2 days before my birthday, I'm excited.
I mean, fair enough. I was not expecting to hear about Mario Strikers, but hey, I'm glad that you're excited for it.
Listen, I'm turning 26, which is a very upsetting thing for me. because I am now closer to 30 than I am to 20, and that sucks. But if there's one thing that's making my birthday better, it's that Mario Strikers coming.
Always look for that, the bit of positivity in your life.
So stoked for that
Such
game,
as
man.
Mario
So
Strikers.
Anyway, enough about Mario Strikers, even though it's going to be hype. Let's get into these matches. Let's start off with the match you chose this week, which was the O.J.M.O versus Ender Kara from Pro Wrestling Soul.
Jeez. So there's not a lot of context to this match, really. Just these two wanted to fight each other, and I'm like, you know what? That's fine.
Listen, I love a simple build.
It's very simple.
These two want to fight each other, so here they are fighting each other.
Yes.
Easy peasy.
So right out the gate, these two lock up and throw each other around the ring until a rope break forces them apart, and they kind of stare at each other for a moment, and Kara just loudly slaps Oku across the face.
Very disrespectfully.
Yeah, Oku kind of gives a look of like, okay, motherfucker.
Oh, that's where we're going with this? Got it.
Got it. They lock up again, except this time Kara grabs Oku's wrist and locks him in a wrist lock. And then Oku, in a very impressive feat, kind of rocks back and forth on the ground while his wrist is still being held, until he's able to kip up, then standing backflip, and then arm drag Kara several times, and then finally taking to the floor with a Hurricane Rana and a drop kick.
Yeah.
My jaw was on the floor after this was done. It was so ridiculously well executed that I was actually genuinely shocked by this.
Yeah, there was some really smooth spots in this matchup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, last time I saw Oku was in a scramble match, and those matches aren't known for the most showcasey of matches in terms of like technical wrestling.
Yeah, everyone kind of gets their spots in, and that's about it in a scramble.
Yeah. So I was like, damn, okay. All right, let's fucking do this shit. So now in control, he slams Kara to the floor, and he goes, I now learned after this match was he goes, now we play, because he's going to go for the half, that's what he says before he goes for the half Boston Crab.
Mm-hmm.
His finisher, in case you couldn't tell by my way I introduced him. Except Kara gets out of it by raking Oku's eyes. Yeah,
you can kind of tell that during this match he kind of gets punished for constantly, like, taunting and, like, bringing up his finisher.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when you scream the thing you always scream before you do your finisher, maybe it's a big call for the opponent to be like, hold on, maybe I should counter this.
Mm. It's like when Randy Orton does his, like, fist pounding on the ground, and you're, like, sitting there, and the guy counters, like,
maybe I shouldn't stand up for this RKO.
Maybe I should slam my fist into the ground repeatedly to let the guy know that I'm ready. Or sweet chin music, too.
Also, does Randy Orton get, like, shin splints, but, like, in his, like, forearms? Like, what's, like, the... You know what I mean? Like, What would that be?
I don't know. Forearm
From doing
splits?
that over and over? Yeah, like, what's that bone called?
I know it's not the forearm. It's something I can't remember. I'm not a doctor. I'm just a wrestling fan.
Not a weatherman. I'm just a wrestling fan.
That quote's still in the Google Doc
It's still
file.
just sitting in the Google Doc.
It's just there. One day, one of us will just probably me.
I don't even remember the context of it anymore, man. It's just been there now forever, and I don't know what to do about it.
I remember it only because of the timing of it. But
yeah.
Anywho, after he gets punished for shouting out his finishing move like an anime character,
of course,
Oku tries to get back into this by Irish whipping Kara into the corner, but instead Kara uses his momentum to roll onto the apron and and jump off the top rope itself to dropkick Oku in the chest. Mm-hmm. And from here, he just dominates Oku with stiff kicks, but kind of like the longer he goes on, the more frustrated he's getting because Oku keeps kicking out of things where, like, you know, the heel being like, you shouldn't be able to kick out of that. You know, classic Valiant babyface. So he throws Oku in the corner and just blasts him with several running strikes before tripping him up in the corner and then hitting a huge running dropkick bomb to his chest. And yet Oku still kicks out. And then counters a fireman's carry from Kara with a backbreaker jumping reverse bulldog is what I have written here. Which was
sick looking.
Yes. It is about as complicated looking as you think it is, but it looked very nice. And I like how after this, the two of them kind of just sit up and just start trading kicks to each other's back and chest. Just like, they're like, fuck you. You know, like back and forth. And then finally, they get back to their feet when Oku gets like a rhythm with a bunch of kicks over and over again. They stand up, and Kara, for like the briefest of moments, gets an upper hand thanks to a series of stiff forearm strikes. But then he gets his breath knocked out of him by an explosive lariat from Oku. And from here, Oku hits a running splash in the corner, followed by a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker and a vertical suplex power slam.
Which was sick.
Oh, it was a very nice sequence.
The vertical the stalling vertical suplex power slam.
Yes. And then after Kara kicks out, Oku sets up for a running knee. But then as he starts running the ropes, fucking Kara just blasts him with a spinning roundhouse kick to the back of his head.
He did the thing. They did the thing like where O.J.M.O ran one way, and then Kara ran like perpendicular to him to like cut him off. You know, like when Willow Nightingale does the pounce.
Yeah.
Or like like when people do like the pounce and they like it's I don't know what I never know what to call that, like quick like juke, I guess, but it's cool.
They faked him out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he kicks him right in the side of the head.
It looked brutal. It was that kick landed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't get him in the win though, so he goes to the top as all people do in wrestling, and he goes for a frog splash.
Wait. When he goes to the top rope, there was one fan in the crowd who just yelled, "OJ, move!" And then he just went, and Ender just went, "Shut up!"
And then, evidently,
which was really funny.
This was even more funny to me because he gets all this height from this frog splash, and the fan telling it, ironically enough, or funnily enough, gets Oku. Oku actually moves out of the way, so he just eats the fucking mat from this fucking frog splash.
I just like how he was like, "Shut up!" Like, don't tell him.
So I didn't yell my move this time.
Yeah.
So Oku rolls out of the way. Gar is recovering from the absolute belly flop he just did on the ropes. Oku goes. Man,
I'm scared to take a belly flop like into a pool. I would never. I don't know how it would feel to just be like onto ground, right? Like, oh man.
If I took that spot in my head, I would be like, "Can we do that at the end of the match? And you just kill me?"
Yeah, right. Just dive straight, just belly first, just right to the mat. Yeah. Like, Jesus Christ, how do they do it, man?
And as if Oku was reading my mind, he murders Kara because Kara's on the ropes trying to get up, and he goes for the kill shot and hits a filthy drop kick and a running knee to the side of this dude's head.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes to the half Boston Crab again. And again, Kara fights his way out of the hole. This time it's because he's like desperately kicking him in the face because he's realizing that he was very close to getting put in this hole. And he goes for a standing slice of bread when he gets up to his feet that Oku blocks. So he immediately goes for that spinning roundhouse kick I described before that almost destroyed Oku.
Yep.
But Oku has seen this before. So he's able to duck under this guy's kick in midair, grab one of his legs, and lock him in the half Boston Crab, and wins.
Yeah, that end spot was like, mwah. Because it was so like, every time Oku called for it, it got countered, right?
Yeah.
But then, the one time he does it by surprise, it gets him the win. It's like, hey, maybe stop yelling that you're gonna do it.
Hey, man. The guy loves the adoration from the crowd, that's for sure.
But I mean, I guess it is pro wrestling, right? Like the whole point is the pageantry, as I say, as I wave my hands. I did a visual bit for this podcast. You know how it works.
Yeah, I'm doing the imagination hands from SpongeBob right now.
Yeah, you gotta play it up, right? So I don't know. But anyway, this match was solid.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it.
I'll give this match a high, man.
I agree. I'm with you there. I think everything was really smooth. I think the match pacing was very good. There was no awkward spots where there was like a lot of downtime.
Mm-hmm. I
feel like it flowed very well. These two were really, really smooth in the ring, and it was a great match all around. I think both guys ended up looking pretty good at the end. Like even though Ender was the heel this whole match, like at the end as he was walking out, the crowd started chanting for him. So like when the crowd starts chanting for the heel after the match, you know it was good.
Yeah, and I also feel like if this match had like a build to it, it probably could have hit a markout territory.
I would love to see these guys go in like a series. Like if one of them gets a title,
that'd be nice.
That'd be great. Like put a get these guys together, but put some stakes on it. They would knock it out of the park.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
I would love to see it later down the line. Anyway, let's move on to the next match. But first, we're gonna go to a quick commercial.
When you look into Discover Student Loans, what you see might surprise you. We can help cover your college costs, don't charge you fees, and give you cash rewards for good grades. Ready to apply? Visit discoverstudentloans.com. Limitations apply.
This podcast is brought to you by Paper, Tutors for All. When students struggle at school, finding a tutor can make a real difference. But tutors are expensive and most families can't afford one. What if that changed? What if tutoring was affordable? What if it was free? What if it was available 24/7 in multiple languages? Now it is. With Paper, schools can offer every single student free 24/7 access to tutoring. Visit paper.co to find out if your child has access to Paper today.
All right, we are back. Let's get into this next match. We are talking about Jessica Troy versus Aisha from Melbourne City Wrestling. Going to Aussie, baby. I tried to do an accent, but it didn't. I was like, I'm gonna do an accent here, and then my body was like, no, you're gonna offend every Australian. Just stop.
Don't worry. You can never hurt the Australians more than Outback Steakhouse has.
Oh, you're fucking right. Those commercials are rough, man.
Yeah, I can hear the bloomin' onion burger in my nightmares. I'm
just mad that in Outback commercials they don't say we're not here to fuck spiders, because that's the best Australian saying, and it's not even close.
Yeah, literally. Nah, they got the bloomin' onion burger, dude.
Listen, that used to be my shit. Whenever I went to Outback, the bloomin' onion burger was the only thing I would ever get.
I will say I have heard from like the one person I know that's been to Outback that they is actually really good.
It's really good. And now I make those for a living because we have something very similar at the restaurant I work at.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, Jessica Troy versus Aisha.
We got
this match. Fucked.
It's a good match. This match was for the MCW Women's Championship.
Yes, it was.
Jessica Troy.
That is something I forgot to mention.
We've actually reviewed a couple matches from Troy, I believe. 2? Off the top of my head now, I think. One was the Charlie Evans. One was it wasn't Charlie Evans, it was another match. And then
I think we reviewed her Jessica Troy Charlie Evans trilogy, didn't we?
We might have. Because it's been a minute since we've been some Australian wrestling. And this is Aisha's second match in MCW.
Mm-hmm.
And she's trying to basically prove herself, and Troy's kind of trying to bring up the new generation of wrestlers.
I mean, I think it worked, based on how this match went.
Mm-hmm. So, this match... Before this match even starts off, we get some bits of Troy kind of posing to the crowd, kind of. Because she is the face here, and Aisha is, as if I recall correctly, her title is the baddest bitch.
Nice. Her and Jade Cargill are going to have to fight about that.
Yep, eventually. Yeah, she's got like the whole, like, I'm better than all of you, I'm not even going to pay attention to all you, go fuck yourself, I'm better than you, hot shit.
Classic heel shit, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And eventually, though, after waiting around enough, and Aisha getting annoyed, like, we're going to do this, and Troy's like, oh, you ready? The two of them lock up, and Aisha tries to go toe-to-toe with Troy in grappling, which I mean,
it didn't go badly.
It didn't go badly, but I remember I thought the same thing the commentary said, which I'm like, that is a bold move to go with the arm taker in a grappling fight. If you're here to prove yourself, fucking give me all that confidence. Fucking lock up with the person who's great at locking up. Like, do it. Like, go for it, right? Like, don't, like, I really actually like, I know everyone was like, oh, why would you do that? I actually really like that she went for it, because it's just like, yeah, this new generation is not here to fuck around and try to get, like, heel victories. She's here, she's like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna lock up with Jessica Troy, and it's gonna be fine. Like, hell yeah, give me that newbie confidence, I love it. Yeah, Queen, go for it. I mean, she does decent, she still loses.
No, but, like, that sequence where they first locked up was really cool.
Yeah, it was. I'm still saying...
where they're rolling around and they get kicked out of each other's things with the arms, and then they rolled on their back and both did the bridge and stared each other down while they're upside down. That was sick!
Yes, that was after she got... Troy forced her to rope break. She tested strength her, and I was like, that's an even more bold play, but okay. And that came out significantly better because neither one really won that. Whereas the first one, Troy was like, sit down, young one.
Yeah.
But the second one, I was like, okay, all right. So, after these two kind of like...
I should just really show him what she's got, though.
She did. Oh, yeah, 100%. They mirrored each other for a good amount for this. They then start trading pins after this, if I recall correctly.
Yep.
And then eventually after this, Aisha boots Troy in the gut and takes control of the match. She beats down on Troy until Troy dodges a chop from her in the corner and delivers several of her own to her chest back to back to back.
Yep.
She then hits 2 fast-paced running forearms in the corner and throws Aisha face first into the middle turnbuckle. She goes to the double knees to the back of Aisha's head, but Aisha rolls out of the way. And as
it was another case of the face showing off too much and giving the heel time.
Yeah, and unfortunately for her, she pays for it in the form of I almost said drop kick, so I was thinking of the spot from before. A backstabber off the turnbuckles.
Oh yeah, brutal.
Very nice. Aisha then again, Aisha, as Mikey said, to have some confidence in herself, she's like, "Nah, I'm not going to just fight the arm breaker in a grappling fight. I'm going to target the arm breaker's arms."
Imagine the clout she would have gotten for making Jessica Troy tap out to an arm breaker.
Would have been absolutely massive. She gets one of Troy's arms in like a hammerlock hold on the floor, and then grabs her other arm and like hyper extends it to pull it behind her back, and then she just stomps on it, which looked fucking disgusting.
Sure did.
It was the type of spot that I like to put akin to Shayna Baszler spots when she's doing her best shit, which is it's like the sweet spot of brutal looking, but it's not actually dangerous if you think about it.
Yeah, it's just somebody with their arm going like, right?
Yeah, but it looks fucking
it looks vicious.
Delightfully brutal, as I like to say sometimes.
Yeah.
So she beats down on Troy while now in control. She's targeting her left arm of hers, and she's taunting the crowd because the crowd is like totally on Troy's side, and she's just like, yeah, no. Fuck all you. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, some guy's, like, yelling. I think she got it, and she's like, shut up. The fuck up. Goes back to beating down Troy. At one point, she has Troy in a camel clutch, and Troy starts to, like, drag herself towards the ropes. So, she very creatively leans forward instead so that it pins Troy's shoulders to the mat. Almost pins her, actually, with it. Then it's more of her beating her down the corner, except this time, she gets Troy back into the center of the ring with a bulldog. And it's after this that Troy starts to make her comeback with a bunch of forearm strikes from the floor up to her feet. And when Aisha tries to prevent this with a boot to the gut, Troy retreats to the corner and drop kicks Aisha's leg out when she goes running after her to keep the pressure up. So she ends up falling face first into the turnbuckle, which lets Troy hit her running knees to the back of her head. She then tries to go on the apron and boots Aisha in the face, or to boot Aisha in the face. But Aisha drags her through the middle and top ropes with like a waist lock. And she beats her down a bit, leaves her hanging there, goes up to the middle rope, leg drops her.
That was sick. Apron. That was a sick leg drop. It looked great. It was just brutal and just almost. It looked like it took Troy out.
She kicks out, and Aisha is physically frustrated. Like, you see her face. She has very good facial reactions here, as well as.
I'd be upset too. That was a crazy. If somebody kicked out of a move like that.
It was. So she's like, all right, well, and then she kind of throws like a tantrum. Like, she's like a bunch of like relentless, like over and over hits that probably don't do a lot of damage. More so just kind of like a fucking piece of shit, motherfucker. Just die. God damn it.
Stay down.
Exactly. Then she mocks Troy's pose where she like kind of like grabs her ponytail and like goes like two ends over. She mocks that. The crowd's like, boo. Fuck you.
No. That's our girl. You stop that.
Stop imitating. So then after this, she goes for a double underhook DDT on Troy, but Troy resists enough, and she kind of like walks herself backwards onto the apron. And Aisha follows her out there, beats her down, tries to hit the DDT again, this time on the apron, but Troy hits her with a jawbreaker, several forearms to the face, which then knocks Aisha backwards into one of the rod that connects the turnbuckle to the corner post. And then Troy drives her face first into said rod with double knees to the back of her head.
Yeah, that was
brutal.
Yeah, it was.
It didn't help afterwards for her that she kept control of this match by hitting her with just a casual brainbuster onto the apron. And then she really starts to show us she's the arm taker because she kicks the shit out of Aisha's arm. And Aisha fights back, and the two end up taking each other out with a variation of like a pump kick to the face, or a variation of kicks to the face. Pump kick from Troy and a super kick from Aisha at the same time. Aisha's the first to regain her bearings, and she's like, all right, well, clearly she's gonna like, Troy's like nearing her where she's gonna go for the armbar, so she's gotta finish her. So she goes for the double under DDT again. But Troy counters it with a jackknife pin that Aisha kicks out of. And credit to her determination, Aisha does try to hit Troy with a spinning heel kick after. It's like a full wheel kick.
Mm-hmm.
But Troy ducks it, kicks Aisha in the arm, spikes her head first into the mat with a standing Meteora to the back of her head, and then locks in a Fujiwara armbar that Aisha instantly taps out to.
Bananas. That double knee to the back of the head into that armbar was just like, oh.
Very good. It was a very nice looking spot. I
Sure
thought this match was good. I thought these two did a good job playing to their characters and the crowd well. There are points where I wish the wrestling was a bit more smooth, and that I wished Aisha sold her arm more, because she instantly tapped out of this. You could argue that that's her character. It's I'm not gonna get my arm hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of was wishing maybe she sold her arm a bit more. But other than that, I was satisfied with this match. I thought this was a good ass match.
I agree. This was really, really solid. They absolutely murdered each other. And it was it was another really well paced match. I think there was a lot going on, and it all happened very quick, but it was not in a bad way. It felt like it never took a downtime. It never took downtime to it never took that weird awkward downtime where it's come on, somebody do something already. It was always something happening. There was a lot of good technical wrestling shown off, and it was a solid matchup. I think Aisha really showed what she was made of.
I will also give this match a high meh.
Yeah, same here. That sounds about right.
So far, we've gotten a good run of matches. Mikey, I wonder if the last match will live up to the other two matches.
No, this one was kind of a miss out for me. No, I'm kidding. This is the last match we're going over today is Kevin Steen versus El Generico from PWG Battle Los Angeles 2011 finals. And
context.
How could this match not be good?
It's if you don't know the context, where have you been in wrestling? But on the off chance you don't know what the context is, the feud of El Generico and his friend Sami Zayn against Kevin Steen / Kevin Owens is an age-old history of a blood. It is you open up a dictionary, you look up the word blood feud, you'll see a picture of these two in front of each other.
Yeah, this is rock Stone Cold, right?
Yeah, literally,
Rock Stone Cold, HBK Brett. This is that kind of level.
Never
of
a bad match, great chemistry, and
yeah.
Here, I'll give you an example of this blood feud. Before the announcer can even announce the match, the two are already beating the crap out of each other. The announcer's gets Alf onto the apron, he's mid-fight, he's ladies and gentlemen, this is your PWG finals. They're just beating the shit out of each other.
Sure was. Sure were.
Loved it. There's it leads to Steen chucking Generico out to the outside and sentoning onto him over the top rope. And a lot of this match actually takes place here on the outside of the ring, surprisingly, as opposed to inside the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Steen mercilessly beats Generico and power bombs him onto the apron. I got PTSD for the fucking NXT spot when he did that to Sami Zayn after he won the title.
I just thought it was so funny that in this match, it was just a spot that just happened, but in NXT, it put Zayn on the shelf, right?
Yeah, and it was that was the catalyst for the WWE version of their feud that still lasts to this day, even though they're both heels.
These two fought in PWG, NXT, main roster at WWE. These two are the definition of fight forever, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what Generico and Steen is.
Yeah. And then at this point, Steen takes a moment to, as Aisha did before, taunt the crowd, except this also includes a little kid in an El Generico mask, and that'll be more relevant later on into the match. So as he's taunting, this gives Generico time to get up onto the apron, and he hits a sit-out moonsault off the top rope onto Steen on the outside onto a bunch of the chairs that the crowd had to leave when he was doing this.
Yeah.
It's fucking wild.
Sure was.
Generico then sends Hans off the top rope onto Steen. He actually damn near jumps over him and proceeds to beat the shit around him until Steen chops him with a stinging shot to the chest and stops his momentum. It looks like he's gonna throw Generico head first into this wall with a poster on it. Generico counters him by chopping him in the chest, kind of grabbing his wrist. And if you've seen any lucha match, you'll know where this is going to go. He runs off the wall and uses that to hit Steen with a tornado DDT. Very nice.
Yeah. That was so sick looking.
This is a very innovative, like, fast spot that you're like, oh, duh, of course he's going to fucking use the wall to tornado DDT. And this is actually what finally caused them to actually get back into the ring. Where Steen, whereas Generico is, like, jumping off the top rope. So I assume do, like, a frog splash or just, like, a running, like maybe, like, a forearm or a drop kick off this top rope. Steen catches him with a fucking cutter and kills him.
Sure did.
He wipes him the fuck out.
Steen knew exactly what was coming and was like, all right, here we go.
And this is where, in this moment, that you could definitely see why anyone that was thinking of signing Steen would understand why. Because he does such a good job of working a crowd. Because he knows that this crowd loves Generico. And he sees this kid in this Generico mask. So he is, like, just hurling insults at this crowd. He's like, what's the word? He's, like, pointing this little kid out, like, he's like, oh, you like Generico, huh? As he beats the shit out of him on the ground. And at one point, Generico actually hits him with a Michinoku driver because of this. So he stops that by super kicking him in the face and hitting a pump handle driver to the back of Generico's head.
Mm-hmm.
And Steen apparently at this point has homed in on this one kid who's on his dad's shoulders with this mask. And he's like, kid, what I'm about to do now, this is your fault. And he puts Generico in a sharpshooter so that he's facing the kid. So the kid has to watch Generico scream in pain as he's in this sharpshooter. And fun fact, as one of the commentators said, the sharpshooter is how Steen won his last matches to get into the finals.
Yeah.
So him going like, this one's for you, kid. Basically, he was the Steve. Basically, I'm gonna beat it because of you.
Sorry, I like how they mentioned that Steen that they were like, yes, this is how Steen has won his last two matches to get into the finals, because it made it feel like they really sold it as like a finishing move, so it made it feel like even more intense that like Sami Zayn was locked in it, right? Or sorry, that El Generico was locked in it.
Yeah, different guy.
Different guy completely. That it really put stakes on it and made me feel like, oh shit, he might tap here, right? Mm-hmm. Instead of it being like, oh, it's a sharpshooter, probably rope break or something and get out of it.
I just remember there's a point where the kid fucking flipped him off, and Steen, like, for a second did like the Triple H, where like he got out of the ring, he's like, I will beat the shit out of you, kid, you little shit.
Yeah.
Fucking loved it. Eventually, though, Steen does let go of this hold, goes onto the apron, he looks at the kid, and he goes, this one's for you. He goes to the top rope, and Generico gets up, tries to stop him. Steen knocks him down by gouging his eyes out and biting his nose. And just before he jumps, he like does like the, aw, so close, little Steen's like, yeah, like I never fall for that. He goes, fuck you. And then he jumps off and gets booted in the gut by Generico. Though he immediately then counters any attempt that he had of a brainbuster attempt by Generico with a package pile driver that Generico barely kicks out of.
Yep.
So he locks Generico in the sharpshooter again. This time he actually holds it all the way until Generico gets the rope break and he's forced to break the hold. And as Generico is recovering in the corner from this, Steen spits in his face several times and hits him with a running clothesline in the corner, but he goes for a second one and Generico catches him and drives him into a corner with a classic exploder suplex. And then he throws him out of the corner with a Tiger Suplex 85, which I've never seen or heard of before.
Oh, yeah.
Until when I watched this match. And then just to add insult to injury, Generico then hits Steen with his own package pile driver, which I assume was his finisher at the time, based on how the crowd was selling it.
Yeah, I believe that is the case.
And Steen barely kicked out of it. So then the two get back to their feet, and Steen goes to the corner, and Generico blasts him with a haluva kick. Steen doesn't go down. In fact, maybe he smiles after this hit. So he hits him with a second one. Same result, except Steen this time looks at him and he slaps him across the face. So, Generico does what anyone would do when someone slaps across the face. He slaps him back, and then he spits on him some more. Then hits him with a third haluva kick, followed by his brainbuster finisher. And it should have, by all means, ended this match. But as Mikey said, Kevin Owens and Steen are the definition of fight forever, and Steen kicks out.
Yeah, it reminded me of the spot where Sami Zayn hit the haluva kick on Owens, and Owens fell and Zayn caught him and pushed him back up.
Yeah, that
and was like, no, you're not done yet. And hits him with another one. Like, it was just, these two have chemistry beyond chemistry. It is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. So exhausted at this point, they each crawl to the opposite sides of the apron of each other. They stare each other down. Generico hits one last Luva kick into Steen, one last brainbuster into the apron. He rolls Steen into the ring, gets the win.
I will forever say that there is one photo from WrestleMania, from one of the WrestleManias, where Zayn and Owens had their a big blow off match, and it's just like Zayn is in the corner on Owens, and they're just fists ready at each other, and Zayn posted it and it just said "Fight Forever." And I want that picture framed and hung up on my wall. I love that photo more than anything.
Mm-hmm. Just a little extra in case you wanted more of these two. There's a moment here where in the celebration, Generico's got this trophy. The kid gets brought into the ring. Everyone's all happy. And Steen looks at this kid in Generico. And because he's a spiteful little twat, he kicks the fucking trophy and breaks it in the middle of his celebration and runs out of the ring before the kid or him can do anything about it.
That sounds about right. Listen,
So,
if he had real balls, he would have just powerbombed the kid.
Oh my god. So Mikey, what would you give this match in case it's not evidently obvious how much you like this match?
It's a mark out. I'm not even gonna joke about being oh, it's a miss out. Obviously it's a mark out. It's so good. This match rules. These two always rule. These two can't have a bad match with each other because they just are so good at fighting each other. They're so good at hating each other, and it always makes for an amazing matchup.
Agreed. I think the crowd did a really good.
I forgot to mention, not only did they feud in NXT, PWG, WWE, but also Ring of Honor.
Yeah,
can't forget about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of these days, like we said, oh my god, you just reminded me, way back when, one of the first episodes we did, we said at one day we would watch the ladder match.
The ladder war. Yeah.
Which we have not watched yet.
It's gonna happen.
One day. But,
maybe not now because we just watched the Kevin Steen El Generico match, but one day we will get to that ladder war and it's gonna be awesome because that ladder war is absolutely bonkers. And is in my top 3 wrestling matches probably of all time.
God damn. Well, anyway, I will also be giving this match a mark out. I thought the crowd was really into this match, which always helps. These two played their roles really well. Wrestling was great. There were no bad spots here and there. The improvisation with the kid was good.
Yeah.
Seeing these two spit each other, my first thought was that is not a COVID era match at all.
Oh,
spitting in each other's faces.
I mean, people still do it.
It's
John Moxley bites people's faces, right?
He does. Something about spitting in someone's face is just a different vibe to me.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Anywho, I still give it a mark out.
Yeah, this match was awesome. That about wraps it up this week for all of our matches, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Well, why don't we give the people a little bit of a preview of what's coming around next week? I believe next week, you picked the majority of the matches, unlike I said before. So why don't you tell us what you brought to the table for next week?
All right. So starting things off, we're getting we had some Brian Keith match in here. We got Brian Keith versus Rudy Garza at Reality of Wrestling.
Nice.
And then because
Reality of Wrestling is Booker T's, right?
Yep, Booker T's Texas promotion. And because Mikey and I were not, I'm not going to say robbed, but did not have the privilege of seeing a long Sawyer Wreck match. We are now going to be watching Sawyer Wreck versus Janai Kai at Wrestle League Women's Championship. I believe it's Proving Grounds.
Hell yeah. That match is going to be dope.
No, Wrestle League, it's Wrestle League, and it's Proving Grounds is the place that I'm actually excited because it's an actual wrestling match. It's Janai Kai, someone who I want to see more of Janai Kai, because every time I see Janai Kai, I feel like it's in a version of a squash match of some sort. Where the match isn't the most exciting, and I'm like, okay, Sawyer Wreck is hardcore. This match has potential to be really good.
Sure does.
But anyway, enough about me gushing about that. And your match that you picked was?
The match I brought to the table was from Absolute Intense Wrestling, and it is Tommy End taking on Raymond Rowe. Tommy End you may now know as Malachi Black, and Raymond Rowe is now Eric from the Viking Raiders in WWE. So this is, as they say, a match that can't happen anymore, and I'm very excited to see it and watch these two kill each other, because I know, because we've both seen both of these guys in action, like Malachi Black, brutal, awesome in the ring. Raymond Rowe, also like part of the Viking Raiders, just absolutely murdering people when they're in NXT. You know, I can't wait to see these two. I can't wait to see Eric. I can't wait to see what Raymond Rowe has in a singles match. Because I've only ever seen him in tag team action, so I'm excited there. And Tommy End's always a good time because we all know that Malachi Black can just kick people's heads off.
Oh yeah, this will be a very stiff match with two very tattooed gents.
Oh yeah, fully tattooed and fully ready to kill each other. So that about does it for everything this week. That just leaves us with the plugs. So if you are not following us on Twitter, you should be, because over on Twitter you can find the links to all of the matches we talked about here on the show. If you follow us you can follow us on Twitter over at Indy Waters. We share a bunch of, like I said, we tweet out a new episode every week. We post links to where you can watch all these matches that we talked about, and we just share our thoughts on the world of wrestling and the world in general. And if you want to follow the Countout Network as a whole, which we, of course, at Indy Waters are a part of, go follow at Countout Pod over on Twitter, where you can get all of the updates from all across the Countout Network, where we update you on shows and such as How to Talk to Your Friends About Wrestling, Your Dose of Death, Pure, Okada's Shorts, Ring Post Radio. So much fun content here on the Countout Network. Whatever flavor of wrestling you like, we probably have a show for it. So go check out the rest of the Countout Network, as well as this show, and go subscribe and leave us 5-star reviews wherever you get your podcast. We would really appreciate it if you gave us those 5-star reviews, because like I said, they help a budding podcast like ourselves get some more eyes and more ears, and give you guys more people to talk about the show with. So we would really appreciate it if you did that. And if you have match recommendations for the show, you can tweet those at us. Like we said before, at Indy Waters. Let us know what kind of matches. Let us know what match you want us to watch, and we'll take a look at it. We love, and if you do, we'll shout you out on the show. And you know, we'd really appreciate that. We love fan interaction. We love watching stuff our fans send us, because it really gives us an idea of what kind of it shows off the diversity of wrestling that everyone likes, which is always a fun time. And you can go subscribe to us on YouTube, Count Out a Wrestling Podcast Network, where we post video versions of all the well, not video versions, but like podcasts in video form, I guess, over on the YouTube channel. And we post some other fun content as well. Like a couple years ago, we did a vlog of our trip to the Collective in Indianapolis, which is up on there. Me and Ryan Knightsey of Ring Post Radio have some old 2K footage where we did commentary over 2K matches for our old podcast, Hit the Books. A lot of fun content over on YouTube, so go check us out over there. And you can like us on Facebook, Count Out a Wrestling Podcast Network. And I believe that about wraps up all the you could go, if you want merch for this podcast or any podcast at the Count Out Network, you can go to countoutpod.com/store. And if you want any more information on the rest of the Count Out Network and how to become a subscriber to the Count Out Network, you can go to countoutpod.com and check us out there. For $5 a month, you get exclusive audios that only members get from all the podcasts here on the network. They're all really fun and really enjoyable, so I highly recommend you become a member and get those audios. And go buy our cool T-shirt that you may or may not have gotten for free at GCW In Too Deep when we were there. And I think that about wraps it up now for sure. Zach, you got anything?
No, never.
Didn't think so. So that just leaves me with one thing left to say, and that is to remember that there is a gigantic sea of independent wrestling out there.
So never stop exploring.
Hey, this is Sean Taggart, and I want to tell you about the podcast that I do here on the Count Out Podcast Network, Pure, a Ring of Honor Wrestling retrospective podcast, where I dive into the deep history of Ring of Honor and talk about the shows, the hits, the misses, the memories that Ring of Honor gave you during the time periods between 2002 and 2021, and maybe more to come. You can catch me out every other Monday on the Count Out Podcast Network, wherever you get your podcasts.